Okay, so first things first, I do apologize. For some reason on my Streamlabs for today's video, the microphone, for some reason, the audio for it wasn't recorded from my end through my Streamlabs. So I do apologize. So you're going to be seeing me kind of basically doing a bit of a voiceover. And yeah, today we have another interview with Sam, who is a member of a fairly new band, Neon Oracle. So you've got this to look forward to. If you are somehow new here to the Just More Show, please do not hesitate to click subscribe, join this community, and also you will be able to catch some of this footage up on Kerrang Radio. Okay, let's get into today's video. So Sam, my first question for you is, what made you set up the band?
I've been doing my own solo stuff for about 18 months, and I could feel that the true nature of what I wanted to be as a musician was starting to come out, and it was just getting heavier. And I did this like twin project this year, which one side of it was very soft and trip hoppy, but then it's kind of yin yang other side of the project was getting this progressively heavier. And people were gravitating more towards the heavy side of things, which that side of the project was called Neon Oracle. And then as the year rolled on, I was like, I feel like that's where my heart is. That's where my real music soul is. And I think that's where I need to focus my attention. It was the side of the project people were way more interested in. And I was like, it's going to be interesting. I think I might try and set up a musical act for this. And reached out, found some musicians, and was just really lucky with the guys that I came across. And we've been working on it since, and it's coming on really well.
Wow, so my second question is, who are your influences in music?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I was raised in a very cultural heavy household, and so I was watching a lot of films. So like the composer Vangelis, different composers through cinema. And then as an adult, I was listening to, well, as a young adult, I was listening to sort of Nine Inch Nails and The Prodigy, and Massive Attack was one of the first music acts that really spoke to me. And so it was only natural that I was going to progress into a music, a digital, electronic music producer, which is what my part of the band is I compose and write the songs. I also build them. I produce and build the tracks. And so I'm very drawn to that kind of thing. And then fusing that with my love of metal, and then realizing that most of the metal bands I love have an electronic element in them. It was just inevitable we were going to end up sounding that way, really.
So, when was the band formed?
The band was only formed sort of springtime this year. Uh, yeah, it's not been long. I think we did our first practice, I think it was April. And we've been working, and I was really lucky because I'm a workaholic, and when I find something that I absolutely love, I will hyper focus. I go right down the rabbit hole with it. And I was really fortunate to find two guys who were as dedicated to the idea of what this could be, the potential. And they just dialed in, and they had a really similar work ethic to me, which is like, work really hard, get the song sounding good, but have fun at the same time. And so it really is just, it feels like the stars have aligned.
So I'm guessing that you haven't performed much as you're a
It's the
brand
best.
new band.
Yeah.
But if you've had any gigs, have you played in Cumbria before?
No, we're really just starting out on our journey of gigging. We recently did a showcase for some of our industry friends and some close friends, just to see how ready we were, and we generally got the green light. And so we've been really reaching out and trying to put on shows with people, but it's really hard to get going when you're a new band because people want experience, but you can't get the experience until you do the shows, but you can't do the shows until you get the experience. And it's this really like, it's like banging your head against a wall. So unfortunately, we're still at this stage where we're desperate to get out there and kind of show people what we've got, but it's finding people who'll take the risk, on a new band.
So, do you guys write any of your own songs, or do you do covers?
It's something that we are going to start looking into, yeah. And we're trying to decide, how we want to approach that subject. Do we want to do metal stuff like of bands that we love as a sign of appreciation? Or do we want to do something like the bloody Venga Boys, and just come out with a song that people are going to weirdly know the words to, just not in that kind of yeah. So we're trying to figure out because the rest of our music is quite heavy and it's I don't want to use the word serious, but we're not too goofy, put it that way. And so it's that thing of is it just going to be too much of a kind of whiplash change of vibe if we throw in a bit of steps, are people going to be like, hang on, what? Okay, what's happening here? They might do. And this is where we are. We're not quite sure.
So, how long have you all known each other? Have you guys known each other for a long time, or is it only been for a short period of time?
Yep, I had a band last year. And I was working with a different producer last year. And at the end of last year, I realized that neither of those setups were working. They just didn't feel right. And I had to take this huge risk and kind of wipe the board clean and start from scratch. And so it wasn't until April that I realized that the twin project, the darker side of the project, was gaining momentum. And I thought, well, I didn't the musicians that I know a lot, but everybody was tied up in projects. And I put the feelers out with the people I knew, but everybody was like, I'll keep my ears open. And I threw some posts up on Facebook on some of these groups. And within 24 hours, Ben and Brandon had both reached out to me. I didn't know either of them. We didn't really have any mutuals either when we added each other on Facebook, which is weird considering we're pretty much in the same area. And so no, it was all completely, it was very new. We didn't know each other at all. And it was very, musically, you've got to have chemistry, but personality wise, it's as important, I think, to have the personality chemistry as well. And I think we're just really lucky that with three of the most different people you could imagine, but somehow it works.
So, my last and final question for you guys is: are you excited to play in Barrow for the
Oh,
first time?
absolutely. Yeah, we're really excited. We just can't wait to get out there and really bring out the whole because it's not just the music. We have this whole like lore and culture that's around our music as well. We've got this story that we want to tell and these characters that we want to introduce everybody to. And this whole like vibe and story that we want to just bring and kind of suck everybody into. So we can't wait to get going. And yeah, we can't wait to come to Barrow and just come and meet these amazing bands. I've already gone and followed them on my socials, so I'm reaching out to them already. But yeah, we're really looking forward to meeting you. Looking forward to meeting the gang behind the whole event. Yeah, we're psyched. We can't wait. Well, there's a funny story with that really because we've got our first official single is coming out on the 10th of September. But I really on Spotify, but I really, really wanted to pitch it to for the playlists. But that requires about a 6 to 7 week in advance build up. And because it wasn't scheduled for a while, they were taking their time in setting up our Spotify profile. You can't go and claim it. And I was like, God, I need to get the ball rolling. And so my mates were like, well, why don't we just throw whatever on our Spotify now? Because they'll have no choice then to give us our profile because it'll be live in like 2 days. And so we'd had a beer and I was like, screw it, yeah, go on. So I threw on probably the most recent of our demos, which is a track called Summoner, which hasn't even got the bass or the guitar on it. It's just me, my track. And I threw it on. And sure enough, within 48 hours, the track had gone live and we could get access to our Spotify. We were able to pitch the single in September. But now our first song on Spotify is this super unofficial, super new demo, which we're just raw dogging the internet. It's a handshake, but it's like a headlock at the same time. But I think it's a very, yes, it's a very honest depiction of what we sound like before professional people can like get us into submission and like get us under control. I think sometimes if a track's good, I mean, one of my my most streamed songs from my solo side of things is a track that I was playing for my clients in my other job, and they all really loved it. And then one night, one of them reached out to me and went, "When are you going to put Your Dad Let's Disco online? I need it for my gym playlist. I need it for the car." And I was sat at home. I'd had a couple of beers, and I was like, "You know what, Adam? Just for you." And it's produced by me, but it is not finished. And I think a professional producer would hear it and probably have a nosebleed. But I threw it on, and I didn't remember. It was about a week later that a couple of friends of mine were like, "Oh, you put Your Dad Let's Disco on." And I was like, "Did I?" "Oh God, I did." But when I went on, now bear in mind, I've spent thousands, I've worked with big producers. Your Dad Let's Disco is my second most streamed track, and I'm mortified and overjoyed by that in equal measures. Like, I think any professional would come on and just get a migraine from listening to the quality. But it's a banger, and sometimes you cannot deny the power of a raw, unsheathed banger. It's just it's around.
Well, that is everything for today. Sam, thank you ever so much for taking the time out your day to come and have a nice little chat with me. It's been a pleasure having you here. I
Okay.
can't wait to see you in person in April of next year. And yeah, I will see everybody next time. It's been your boy, Just Mol, your host with the mostest. Thank you ever so much. Good night. God bless.